Hey, shalom, shalom. Your brother Raza Allah from GMS London Camp. First and foremost, want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachachodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone, and blessings to the hopeful and sincere elect, Bahaya Kodash. That's the holy elect, Baha Raza, in and around the full ones of the earth. Greetings. Now, I don't know how true this bulletin is, but we're coming into some desperate times, which is going to call for desperate measures. And currently you got the back and forth right now between Trump and the government in regards to whether he's going to actually pay people SNAP credits and so on and so forth, which he's saying that he's reluctant to pay it, but he's been pronounced by the courts that he has to pay part of the people's SNAP credits and SNAP benefits, whatever you want to call it, welfare checks, even as the government shutdown insists. And now you say you're going to have advertisements like this, man. Basically ask for cash. Tis the seasons, man. These women out here are going to be out here looking gullible and desperate, man. And they're going to be selling their box for all kinds of goodies, man. Resources, paying for their rent. I remember there's a few months back, or there was an article, an actual video as well. Can't remember which state it was. I think it was in Canada actually, and it said that landlords was negotiating with women to pay for rent by getting the box. Basically, women were paying for their rent, monthly rent, by giving up the box to their landlords and all that, man, in exchange for accommodation. So in these last days, you women out here, especially you independent, proud feminist type women, you're gonna have to bow down, man. You're gonna have to lower yourself, abase yourself, and you're gonna be humbled in these last days, because you're gonna realize that you are totally defenseless in the midst of civil war, civil unrest, disobedience in society, man. You women ain't got no fighting power. You ain't built for war. You're the weaker vessel, as the scripture says. So you got this bulletin here. As I said, I don't know how true this is, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's not far-fetched from the truth anyway. This is diamond and lace, or whatever that business is called. It says no SNAP, no problem. Saturday, November the 1st, 2025, $500 in food and groceries to the hottest mum on stage. So you single parent mums, and you women in general, you're going to be out there advertising the body, as you usually do online and social media anyway. You're actually going to be out there on the front lines in the streets, in the public domain. Not just on the OnlyFans accounts and all that, but you're going to have to we're out there and strut your stuff on the highways, basically, to get some sort of compensation for giving up the box, man. Ask for cash. That's the times are coming into, man. And you women are gonna realize that you're not the prize, man. You was hoodwinked by the devil. That Faustian bargain, Gardinian bargain he made with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, was the serpent, and Eve back in the garden. That was all to naught, because this devil lied to you, man. Thinking that you was gonna be strong and independent and rule over the man, usurp authority over the man. That was futile, man. Because the society's never ever been ruled in a matriarch society where women are ruling over men, and stood the test of time, basically. You're watching too many Greek mythology movies like the Athens and Wonder Woman and all of that. You've been watching too much of that if you think these women can actually build society and maintain it for a long periods of time, man. That's fiction, mate. That's science fiction. But anyway, yeah, this advertisement is going to be out there, for real. You women are going to be out here selling your ass for cash, man, or for any type of goods and resources to keep yourself safe. And even just the fact of having a secure household, man, a place of security, accommodation. And that's why Isaiah 4:1 is definitely coming into play in these last days, man, because of the situation over there with the government shutdown and the benefits and the welfare checks being cut off. These women are going to lament for the teats, man. That substance is not going to come in like no more that anymore. The vintage shall fail. You know, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, you know, because you've been at ease in this society. That's why the Lord said, rise up, you careless women that are at ease. She that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. His top 5 participants get a Walmart gift card. Look at that, man. Giving up the box for a Walmart gift card, man. That's crazy. And $500 in food and groceries, credit stamps or whatever you want to call it. You know, so these women are going to be out here fighting for this positions of the top men, basically, and they're really going to be fighting for the Israelite man, because they're going to realize not every man's going to have the stability and the sober mindset, that the men of the Lord are going to have of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. They're a different flock, they're a different breed of men. They cut from a different cloth. The men of the hopeful elect. These women are going to realize that, especially when Psalms 110, when it talks about our people shall be willing in the day of thy power. Certain men get spiritual power. These women are going to start coming flocking in droves, man. So brothers ain't got to worry about these heifers out here. They're going to come running, man, to the point where you're going to have to back them off of you, because they're going to be too many to deal with at once. But that's the purpose of a woman, man. A man's supposed to be able to deal with more than one woman at a time, man, at his convenience, if the options are presented to himself. So, yeah, man, beautiful times ahead, man. This is Amos 7 and 17. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword. Yes, said the Lord prophesied that our women are going to be harlots, prostitutes, publicizing, putting themselves on Front Street, so to speak, for public display. Which I think you go into the Greek word porneia, or porneia for prostitute, in the Greek, and that's talking about a woman that's out there on Front Street, basically prostituting herself, because that's where you actually advertise yourself on Front Street. It's the oldest occupation in the book. Women working in the harems and working as an occupational I was going to say occupational therapist. That's a joke, but no, working as a your private nurse, so to speak. Brothers know what I mean. Working as a harlot, dressing up for the job, so to speak, scantily clad, titties, arse out, and all of that, to advertise their bits for the men, to come in and seduce them, basically, for a certain amount of money. And that's old school occupations right there. You had men of the Lord that was into that. You had Samson, he was up in the harlot houses dealing with women. You had Jacob, you had was it Judah, should I say, Salakia, if I'm not mistaken, and you had Hosea. So these are prominent men of the scriptures that dealt with harlots, man. So there's nothing wrong with dealing with a harlot. It's that everything's supposed to be done with moderation. Scriptures talk about the superfluity of naughtiness. So you got to be mindful of what you're doing and not overdoing it, so to speak. Everything in moderation, man. But there's nothing wrong with dealing with a damn prostitute, As I said, it's the oldest occupation in the book. But our women, our daughters, are not supposed to be harlots, man. That's a curse unto us people, unto the tribes as a people, man. Because our women, there's not supposed to be any whores of the daughters of Zion. And it's a shame unto our people to find out your daughter's a harlot and all of that. Especially if you're a priest, that bitch is supposed to be burnt at the stake. So it's not a glad thing to look to approach or look at. But yet and still, these women in these last days, they ain't gonna have a choice, man, because that's the only thing that they got to advertise is their box. Their beauty, their looks. That's all they got to basically advertise. Their sexual nature. So these women are gonna be out here Front Street for real, climbing brothers down, man. Begging on their knees and so on and so forth, man. Just for a little bit of salvation. It's Isaiah 32 and 2. It says, a man shall be in hiding, as in hiding place from the wind. Yeah, so all the civil unrest, the disobedience, the chaos and pandemonium that's going to unleash in society, The man is going to be a hiding place, not the woman. It says a man is going to be in hiding place from the wind. Because why? Because a man is more precious than fine gold. And not just any man, but an Israelite man, the man of the Lord. That's pushing the vibration in the names of Yahweh Bar Hashem, Yahweh Shai. It says, and a covert, meaning a covering from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, like a mirage. It says, and as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So we're going to be their hedge of protection in these last days, man. And these women are going to come to realize that. A lot of these women are starting to realize that now. They're starting to bow down. They're starting to realize they're not the prize. And they're actually agreeing with polygamy. A man dealing with many women. Or being polyamorous, a man having many different partners. But really they're supposed to be your wives, But you're allowed to have concubines as well. King Solomon had many wives. It's 1,000 women, 700 wives and 300 concubines. King David had dealt with many women, So this is part of our nature as being an Israelite man. A prince of the power, a sovereign. It's to have many different maids. Housewives, so to speak. Sister wives, as they call it today. Let me jump down. Verse 9, right? Esau's gonna let rip on this society, man, and he's gonna show you his true feelings, that perpetual hatred that he's got for you tribes, man. But putting your backs in against the wall, starving you out, bringing forth organized famines and pestilences, to depopulate the nation, to cut the herd, cull the herd, so to speak. And the rest of them are going to be sea-hipped, man. The ones that, don't want to take the sea-hip, they're going to be ostracized from society and more than likely killed, beheaded, and so on and so forth, man. It says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. So a lot of these women out here, they're going to get persecuted in these last days, pursuant to Ezekiel 9 and 4. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. So a lot of women out here are going to be caught out there slipping, so to speak, and no one's going to come to their aid. The Lord's not going to come to your aid. He's not going to hear your cries. He's going to let Esau tear your asses up, rip that weave off your damn head and wrestle you to the ground and beat your ass to death, or just shoot you on sight. Have their way with you, so to speak, you and your daughters, man. Ravishing is going to be a major thing in these last days, because it's going to be straight lawlessness in society, man. Many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, for the vintage shall fail and the gathering shall not come. Yeah, government shut down, people complaining about not getting their paychecks on time, getting their last paycheck, and now they're saying that, the SNAP benefits are supposed to be getting paid, but Trump is, fighting tooth and nail not to pay it, so these things are only going to get worse. It says evil shall multiply in these last days, man. It's not going to get better, man. So it says, tremble, you women that are at ease, be troubled, you careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Yeah, the Lord's going to humble you women out here, especially you proud heifers, you black hyenas, you big Shirleys, all of you, man. The Lord going to humble you, man. You keep running your mouth and, acting like your shit don't stink, very clamorous. The Lord's going to humble you in the worst way, man, imaginable. And you going to bow down, man. You ain't going to have a choice. Either that or just drop dead. It says, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Yeah. So your little benefits, your SNAP benefits, all of that welfare, all that shit's getting cut off, man. And good riddance too, man. Because, that's part of the chaos that we need. The order of chaos that we need, that the elites want to bring forth their new world order. And ultimately it's going to bring the downfall of this whole society, man. One step closer to the initiation and the mandate and the mark of the beast, which is the RFID here, and then even a step closer to World War III soon after that. So this is the necessary evil we needs to happen, man. So as I said, 'tis the seasons, man. You women are going to be out there for real, selling your ass for cash. So you're going to have to get with the program. This is Ezekiel 16 and 44. Behold, everyone that useth this proverb shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother so is her daughter. Yes, if the mother's a harlot, the daughter's gonna grow up to be a harlot, man. The mother wants to be a single parent mother, dealing with many different men, many men, and all of that. The daughter's gonna grow up thinking that's how she's supposed to be, and the mother's gonna encourage it because she doesn't want her daughter to be better than her, to settle down and have one husband that they're supposed to, man. She wants her to be free and be whorish just like she did or didn't get to do in her younger years. She wants her daughter to experience that. So she's going to encourage her to be a damn harlot, like we read in the first precept, Amos 7:17. Thy wife shall be a harlot in the city. So as is the mother, so is the daughter, especially in these last times, man, these last days. So this is a very trying times, man. But the elect, the remnant, are going to be delivered, as it says here, Isaiah 4:1, a remnant prepared, the elect. And you're going to have some elect sisters that are going to be delivered through those men too, through the act of childbearing and all that, as it says in Timothy. It says, and in that day 7 women, which means a number of women, a complete number of women, shall take hold of one man, one Israelite man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So these situations like this is going to be the new thing, man, the new in thing, man, the new trend. All that social media going on 5-star Michelin restaurant dates and all that, all those days is over. Speed dating, all that shit is done for, man. Men ain't even approaching women like that no more. You women are going to have to do the hard work. You women are going to have to do the hard labor. So lucky for the noise in the background. You women are going to have to do the hard work. You're going to have to, get your hands dirty, so to speak. You're going to have to make the first move. Men ain't doing shit no more. Because we're tired of you women shit, man. We're tired of your mind games, your Jedi mind tricks. Because you're all about snares and nets, as it tells you in Ecclesiastes, man. And so the ball's going to be in the man's court, especially an Israelite man that's sober-minded. Wisdom, knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength for salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, man. So that man's going to be more profound and more precious than fine gold. And he's going to be a rarity. So that's why he's going to be so, so precious in these last days. Because a lot of men are going to be dying in the war. So the scriptures tell you dying in famine, dying by the sword, pestilences, dying in the civil unrest, civil war, getting drafted over there to the Middle East. So there's going to be a lack of men out here. It's going to be like that movie Children of Men, So it's going to get, with Clive Owen and all that, so it's going to get very trying in these last days, man. As I said, but you women out here, no snap, no problem, man. Ask for cash, so get ready, man. Get ready to bow down and kiss the ring of the Israelite man. So with that, I'm going to close out. Give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash, Shalom to the hopeful and sincere elect.